नाउ देयर इज़ ए कॉन्सेप्ट कि मैदा से आटा अच्छा है.
या
सो एक तो ये हो गया कि मैदा आप कम कर दो, आटे में आ जाओ.
या
अब एक दूसरी चीज़ आता है कि हाउ मच ग्लूटेन यू आर टेकिंग, बिकॉज ग्लूटेन एक ऐसा सब्जेक्ट है जिसको आप अवॉइड कितना कर सकते हो, इट इज़ ए क्वेश्चनेबल.
राइट.
सो हाउ टू रिड्यूस दैट ग्लूटेन पार्ट, और कितना ग्लूटेन आपके बॉडी के लिए अच्छा है और कितना ग्लूटेन तक आप उसको टॉलरेट कर सकते हो. कैन यू प्लीज एड्रेस दैट?
So gluten is actually, again, this is kind of a fad about gluten free. Our ancestors have been having gluten since donkey years, right? गेहूँ तो हम इतने सालों से खाते आ रहे हैं. There are cases where if you are allergic to gluten or if you have gluten intolerance, then you should not have gluten, right? एक celiac disease करके होता है जो which is very high intolerance to gluten, right? So if you are somebody suffering from that, 100% you have to keep away from gluten. If you have gluten allergies, right, which is all of this is not very common in India, right? Other parts of the world में है ये, काफ़ी लोगों को celiac disease होता है, काफ़ी लोगों को gluten allergies होती है, और वहाँ के लिए शायद ये बहुत appropriate भी है कि they have to stay away from gluten, right? But in India, generally it's not that prevalent, right? A great way to, in general, test for food allergies is now we have blood tests that are very economical, affordable, and you can actually go and get a blood test done to see what foods that you are allergic to, right?
Okay.
और उसमें से आपको ये भी पता चलेगा कि ये फूड्स खाने से ऐसा एलर्जी, यानी कैसा कि ऐसा नहीं कि आपने ये खाना खाया तो यू ब्रेक आउट इन हाइव्स और you have some adverse effect, but it might even cause some small inflammation persistently happening in your body, right? And cutting out those food groups can actually benefit you in the short term, and in the long term you can reintroduce them in small quantities so your body can get used to that as well, right? Now coming back to gluten is actually not bad for you. It's not a great source of protein as well. How much, jitna उसका भी bioavailability is about 40%, 50%. But gluten is generally, I would say, it's not bad for you. Okay, and I would, so again, there's an argument about millets, for example, ki move away from wheat and go into jowar and bajra and other millets. I would actually argue against that, right? Because if you look at the nutritional value of both the foods, they're almost similar, right? Same amount of carbohydrates, same amount of protein, same amount of fiber. In a lot of cases, wheat actually trumps the millets, right? Millets also have a lot of anti-nutrients, right? Wheat also has anti-nutrients, but far lesser than what millets have. Both absorptions of the protein, both the grains are similar, right? The reason why I argue against millet is simply because when you eat chapatis made from wheat, you will eat very thin chapatis, so your overall consumption in grams of the actual flour is much lesser, right?
Yes,
but
true.
वही आप मिलेट की बनाओगे तो आपकी चपाती मोटी बनती है, राइट? तो आप जो ओवरऑल क्वांटिटी खा रहे हैं, ओवरऑल जो कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स आपके बॉडी में जा रहे हैं वो मिलेट्स में काफ़ी ज़्यादा है, राइट, एज कम्पेयर टू वॉट यू गेट आउट ऑफ wheat, right? So wheat may you are actually, because ultimately roti is like the transporter, should be the transporter of other foods into your body, right? It's like a vehicle to
Yes.
get your vegetables in, to get your dals in, to get your, if you're having meats.
Transporter है वो.
Yeah, it's a transporter, absolutely. So then use the lightest one, I would say, right? In that case.
So according to you, what should be the right choices for carbs to take in a daily basis? Exceptional days are apart.
Yeah. So I would say so everything that has a lot of water in it, right,
Okay.
is very good, right? For example, let's take rice, for example. Okay, rice is almost all starch, right? All carbohydrates. लेकिन rice, raw rice 4 गुना पानी absorb करता है, right?
True.
So when you make 25 grams of rice, it becomes 100 grams,
Yes.
right? And so that has a lot of water absorbed into it, right? If you look at other carbohydrates, like even traditional upma, poha, they are all pure carbs, right? Upma is made out of wheat germ. Poha is made out of rice flakes. But again, they absorb a lot of water. The dry form versus the wet form is quite more, right? What you should avoid is dense form of carbs, like biscuits, for example. Biscuits, even गेहूं से बने हुए biscuits है गेहूं से बने हुए बिस्किट्स यूजुअली तो unless it's very customized or something you'll find it,
Yes.
otherwise all biscuits are made out of practically maida or